name is Elizabeth Lyon, and I'm doing Tompkins Teaching Strategy number 4, which is the author's chair. I have a group of 3 females. Most of my lesson plan will be in a small group activity, but the beginning does begin in a whole class introduction. So yesterday class, we learned and read Stone Soup. We made our delicious soup in the crock pot. You guys all loved how it tasted. Can anyone recall what type of story Stone Soup was? Jordan?
A folktale.
You're right, it was a folktale. And yesterday we went over and we learned a bunch of words, and we are actually going to continue our lesson about folktales with reading our own folktale. We are going to have a few new vocabulary words that we're going to go over in a second. Can anyone tell me when we break into our groups, what are some ways that we can practice our new vocabulary words? Sydney?
Partner work or Kahoot games.
You're right. And I made you guys a brand new Kahoot game for our vocabulary words this week. So we are going to learn about a new folktale. It's actually an African folktale this time. Yesterday was our Chinese folktale about Stone Soup. In our African folktale, we are going to learn about how the moon and the sun became part of the sky. Do you guys have any ideas that you'd like to hypothesize with your neighbors about how you think the moon and sun became part of the sky? Go ahead and get in your small groups and talk it over for a few minutes.
Okay.
All right, good job. You guys came up with some great ideas. Now, once we break into our small groups, you guys will meet with me and we'll do our author's chair activity and we'll find out if your answers are right. So we're going to go over our vocab words before we break into our reading groups. But when we do break into our reading groups, you'll need to complete your Kahoot game in your rotation before you see me, okay?
Okay.
All right, so our vocabulary this week, or for today, is folktale, overflow, earth, planet, and dialogue. Now, can anyone tell me if they remember what a folktale means? Sydney?
A story passed down by word of mouth.
Good job. And this story is passed down through the African culture by word of mouth. So it could have changed over the years, or we never really know exactly how the story started or came to be. Our next word is overflow. Can anyone tell me what overflow means? Allie?
Flood or flow over the edge.
You're right. And to show you guys exactly what I mean by overflow, we're going to do a little experiment. So I have this little jar of water here. It's got some almost full of water, if you guys can see that. What do you guys think, or how is the cup of water going to fill up with water? Yes.
The pennies will make it rise more.
So you think the pennies will make it rise more?
Yeah.
And do you think I'll need a lot of pennies and coins to make that water overflow?
Yeah, all of them.
All right, do you guys think this amount is enough to make that happen?
Yes.
Yeah? All right, well, let's see what happens. Oh, it was almost enough. We'd probably need a few more handfuls to make that overflow. What would happen if I kept adding pennies to the jar?
The water would flow out.
Or overflow.
Overflow.
Good job, guys. All right. So our next word that we have is earth. Can anyone tell me what the earth is made out of? Jordan?
It's a planet made of soil and water.
You're right. Our earth is partly soil, but mostly water. And can anyone tell me what planet means? What do you think planet means? Allie?
Something that orbits around a star.
Yeah, so Earth is a planet, and our star that we orbit around is the sun. And our moon even orbits around us with the sun. So we'll learn about how they both got up there. So our last word is dialogue. Can you guys tell me what you think a dialogue is? Jordan?
A conversation between 2 or more people.
You're right, 2 or more people. Do you think that you can demonstrate for me what a dialogue would be like?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Jordan, how was your day today?
It was good. Sydney, how was your day?
It was great.
Perfect. We had a conversation between 3 people. We had a dialogue about how our day was. Great job, guys. So, now that we have an idea of what all of our words means, you guys will get on your tablets and go through your Kahoot game, and when you're done with that, you'll meet me for our small group. Okay. Now we're in our small group. So, now you're in your small groups. We're going to do our author's chair activity. Do you guys remember the last time we did author's chair activities? All right. So, Sydney, since you went last time, we're going to have Jordan go first this time, okay? So, Jordan is going to turn around and face you guys, and she's going to read her story out loud. When she's done reading her story, she'll choose each of you guys to ask a question or say a compliment. Remember, you have to have at least one of them, okay? So make sure you pay attention to what she's reading. All right, Jordan, our story is titled How the Moon and the Sun Went Up to the Sky. Go ahead and start reading.
Many years ago, the sun and water were great friends, and they both lived on the earth together. The sun very often used to visit the water, but the water never returned the visits. At last, the sun asked the water why he never visited. The water replied that the sun's house was not big enough, and that if he came with all his people, he would drive the sun out of his home. The water then said, "If you want me to visit you, you will have to build a very large house, but I warn you that it will have to be very large, as my people are numerous and take up a lot of room." The sun promised to build a very large house, and soon afterwards he returned home to his wife, the moon, who greeted him with a broad smile. The sun told the moon what he had promised the water, and the next day they began building a large house to entertain the water and all his people. When it was completed, the sun asked the water to come and visit him. When the water arrived, one of his people called out to the sun and asked him whether it would be safe for the water to enter, and the sun answered, "Yes, tell my friend to come in."
Awesome. Great job, Jordan. That was nice reading.
Thank you.
So go ahead and pick your first person that you'd like to answer or a question from.
Sydney.
Who do you think the water's people are?
I think that the water's people could be fish or dolphins or maybe mermaids.
Wow.
Wow, that's a really great job. You know, that really could work since all of those people live in the water. All right. Go ahead and pick your next person, Jordan.
How?
You did a great job reading.
Thank you.
Good job. That was awesome. Okay, now Allie, you're our next person up in our author's chair. So if everyone can turn their attention to Allie, we're going to listen to her half of our story.
The water began to flow in, followed by the fish and all the other water animals. Very soon the water was knee-deep in the house, so he asked the sun if it was still safe, and the sun again said yes, so more of them came in. When the water was at the level of a man's head, the water said to the sun, "Do you want more of my people to come?" Not knowing any better, the sun and the moon both said yes. More and more of the water's people came in, until the sun and the moon had to sit on top of the roof. The water once again asked the sun if it was still okay to keep coming in. The sun and moon answered yes, so more and more of the water's people came in. This water soon overflowed the top of the roof, and the sun and the moon were forced to go up into the sky, and they have been there ever since.
Great reading. Good job. All right, Allie, it's your turn to go ahead and pick a person that's going to ask you a question.
Jordan.
What happened when the water overflowed?
The sun and moon went into the sky.
Good remembering. Good job. All right, go ahead and pick your next person.
Me.
You kept going even though you made a mistake. That's great.
That is great. Way to boost your confidence, Sydney. That's awesome. You guys did a great job reading that story. Did you guys like it? Was it interesting? Yeah, I agree. I thought it was very interesting too the first time I read it. So now, can anyone try to summarize quickly in like 2 sentences how our story of the sun and the moon went to the sky? Sydney?
Okay, well, the water wanted to come and hang out with the sun, but the sun said, we don't have enough room, and so he built them a house, and then the water kept bringing in all his people, and then it overflowed.
Right. And where did the sun and moon have to go when it overflowed?
The sky.
You're right, yeah. I believe, Sydney, I think you have one more question for Allie.
I do.
Oh, right, Jordan, sorry.
What would you have done if the water overflowed?
I would have tried to swim away and find another house.
Good idea.
Me too.
Hopefully there would be a taller house than the one that you built, and you could find one. All right, so now that everyone has rotated through our stations, we're going to head back to our seats and finish off our lesson today. So, who can list 2 of the folk tales that we have studied this week so far? Allie?
Stone soup,
And what was our one that we studied today?
the sun and the moon.
You're right, yeah. Those are both folk tales that we have learned. So each of our stories came from different places that we talked about. They both showed the different cultures of China and Africa. Our stone soup story had our monks in it. And then today we talked about the sun and the moon. So what is one way that we could compare our 2 folk tales? What is a difference that they have?
They're from different places.
Yeah, they're from different places. And if we wanted to, later this week, we could make a Venn diagram of these 2 places and try to really compare the differences in our stories. So, before we go to lunch, I want to give you guys a chance to earn some more tickets this week for our prize box at the end of the week. So who can generate a sentence with any of our vocab that we have learned this week? You guys can use these. I know they're fresh today, so anyone want to give it a try? Sydney?
My favorite planet is Mars.
Awesome, you use planet. All right, anyone else want to try to use one of our 4 other words? Allie?
I live on Earth.
Great, you guys are coming up with some great sentences. Jordan, do you want a chance? We have about a minute left.
Yes. I read the folk tale today.
Wow, good job. You even used something we learned in class. Great work, guys. All right, have fun at lunch.
Yay.